Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys and girls and everybody watching had a good night's sleep. I didn't, so I'm taking a sip of my coffee. Yeesh, that's still very hot. I made it a bit later than usual. Okay, let's get into this. Ooh. Okay. Pause that thing, so I don't want that thing playing in the background. Pause this thing. Okay. So, what has happened since yesterday? Now, I was super excited about the progress that I made. That I continued and decided to work a little bit more on some of the ranger stuff, and also I tweaked some of the chicken stuff as well. But for the chicken, it wasn't really much. I just changed the attack area. But the ranger, I needed to. You guys might remember when I ended yesterday, you weren't actually able to kill anything with the ranger. You also your arrows did hit stuff, but that was about it. So I added the functionality to kill something with the ranger. Let me show it off. Now, this is not the final product. I don't think this is perfect. So we're going to be tweaking this today to actually make the ranger feel good, but at least some of the functionality is, in the game. I don't know why this scale keeps resetting it to that should be 1, full HD, select the ranger. Okay. So you might remember the ranger's fast and all that good stuff. Now look at this. Oh yes, okay. I should be hitting stuff. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Killing lizards. There's a lot of them. Yes, yeah, I'm killing lizards, but only the ones that are far away. Come on, make it. See, when I shoot them, I send them flying as well. It's kind of cool. Die. Okay, if for the astute watcher out there, you would have also noticed that there are quite a few errors happening right now. Okay, so what's happening? So let me take you through it real quick, and then we can continue from there. Okay, so let's see. The arrow, okay, and I put this in the arrow projectile movement. I realized that might not be the best thing, but anyway, I'll change some of this a bit later. But for now, I just put it in here so it works. Okay, so basically all that's happening is, and it's really that easy, but so on collision enter, so you might remember that this collision looks for any collider, and it does the things to get the arrow to stop. But also, I added this bit, so it looks for the enemy take damage script, and you might remember that the script was This is basically the script responsible for making the enemy take damage and then die. So it was as easy as just getting to that script and running the apply hit function with some input for damage. Right, and I decided that the ranger should have higher damage. And that's it, right? That's Bob's your uncle. It works. Now I was fiddling with the arrow itself, so let me just show you that. Because there's a couple of things that happened, right? The first thing was these lizards are quite small, right? And that's fine. I like them being a little bit short. And I think that's good. But what that meant was that the ranger would get triggered to shoot them, but just shoot over their heads, especially when they got close, right? Maybe the further along ones got hit sometimes, because obviously the arrows do fall, but it was very seldom. So what I had to do, let me just get the arrow projectile over here. I added a new collider. Okay, so previously it was just the arrow tip, right? But now I added this collider over here, this long one. That basically says, you know what, since we don't really have control over aiming up and down, etc., I decided, you know, I will just count a hit anywhere in this zone. But that also broke my interaction with the world. So this arrow, if it flies and it hits the ground, it'll float at, you know, that amount of height above the ground, right? Because it detects, oh, I hit the ground right there, and then I run all the various functions to make it stop, you know, freeze in place. And that's a problem. Okay. Because okay, so there's a few things now that's a problem, right? First of all, I want this for hitting enemies, right? And if you think about it, I could just make it, hey look, there's the sun. I could just make it that if it hits anywhere here, I teleport the arrow into the head of the lizard, so it looks like I'm doing headshots. And that'll be fine because nobody will ever notice that. I could also make it. Yeah, so that's one thing. And then maybe the tip of the arrow is only relevant when it's hitting other things that are not the enemies. Right, so that's how I'm thinking of going about it. Also, doing this kind of logic would help with the errors that I'm getting. So this error here is basically, you know, it's hitting something that's not a lizard, and it's like, hey, we tried to do the attack enemy or, you know, apply damage to enemy function, this guy, but it didn't work because it's not an enemy, right? So I think I already have a solution for this. I think if I just go to the night, okay. No, it's not quite. Yeah, because I do a check sphere. So basically what I should do is I should check if it's in the layer yeah, so that's basically I should check if it's in the enemy layer. So how to check if object and specific layer Unity. It shouldn't be that hard, I just need to figure out what the I mean, there should be like a very straightforward. So let's get collision dot transform dot layer collision dot game object dot layer. Just integer identifying the layer the game object is assigned to. Okay, let's just do a debug log. I just want to see what this actually yields. But I think it's just going to yield some kind of a thing, like a number or something, just identifying the layer mask, right? And if we go to like the night trigger area, blah blah blah, I specify here, for instance, just look at the enemy layer. But I defined it somewhere here, yeah. Enemy layer is layer mask dot get mask enemy. So then it applies. I think it's an integer. I think it uses integers. But yeah, so I got it from the. So you get it first, and then you do the rest of the things. Okay, so let's go to Unity. And let's go shoot a couple of things. I just want to see what it's printing. It's printing a lot of stuff. I should probably clean this up. There's a lot of debug logs. Okay, but come on. It's also quite difficult to hit these guys. Okay, I hit him. It was 7. Okay, so that is the game. That is the layer. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna do something like what I do with this. Where I define the I find the enemy layer. So we just do a. Where do I do this again now? Arrow projectile movement. I define it. I find it. And then I can do a test. Okay, so I can do over here, instead of just doing that, I can ask if, wait, yes. So I can do if collision layer equals enemy layer. Right, we do the applied damage stuff. Okay, so we do apply damage only when this happens, and not every single time it hits something, because that's obviously not going to work. So we just check if it's the correct layer. Okay, the other thing is, you know, it feels like I should be hitting little lizards way more often than I do. And I think that has something to do with the fact that this collision area is just a little bit small, right? So I think we should make it even bigger. So this would be the capsule collider. So let's see. Radius, I think we can make this quite a bit larger. I think that's about it, right? I don't think I need anything else. I could make it longer. Okay, and then I could make the line -1. Negative. Well, no, if I make it longer, it's gonna hit the ground sooner and stop. There won't be a problem eventually because I have done something else that I want to fix as well. But okay, let's just try this first, see how this goes. Okay. Interesting. So I definitely hit the Okay, so I'm hitting things. What is this? Oh, it's colliding with itself. And it's not applying the damage. I can just take this out. Okay, let's do collision game object layer. I want to see what that is. I also want to see what the enemy layer is. Because it's not equating, so it's never applying the damage. Okay, let's try it out. Unity engine dot layer mask. I defined a layer mask. That's right. It's not a layer, it's a layer mask. Ah, jeez. Okay. Whoops a dipsy. What did I just do? Close the wrong thing. Okay, so enemy layer is a layer mask. Okay, so I can get the so basically what I want to do is to how to get Unity layer mask. Let's just look Unity layer mask. I should show you guys what I'm doing, right? Okay, let's just look at the scripting API layer mask and see what you can do with it, right? So 32 layer masks, la la la. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. So how do I check the layer of the layer mask? Get mask. I should do dot value. Okay. Okay. enemy layer. I can just do this up here because I don't really care about the mask itself. So I fetched the mask dot layer. Is this an integer? Ah, yeah, dot value. So I can do it there. Okay, well, so if I do value and value and I do that, then this should work because I'm comparing the integers again. Okie dokie. I'll take their word for it. Let's see. Yeah, because it's just doing Unity layer mask, which is nice. Well, not really, right? It doesn't really matter. That is interesting. So that's the 128, eh? Okay, so let's just check. Okay, let's go check in Unity. So if I'm not mistaken, geez, where am I? So if I'm not mistaken, if I go to my, I think it's in layer. No, where do you specify your masks again? Okay, layers. Yeah, enemy layer is layer 7. I can hard code it to a 7, right? But I don't know why is this not working. Enemy layer, layer mask.get mask enemy. That gives me enemy layer. And then during the physics trigger, it checks for the layer mask. And according to this thing, given a set of layer names as defined in the bolt use tag, it returns the equivalent layer mask for all of them. Converts a layer mask to an integer value. To what integer value? Explicitly converts an integer to a layer mask. Name to layer. Given a layer name, returns the layer index as defined. So this is what I want. I want name to layer. Effectively. Okay, so let's say this is an integer. Enemy layer, and then over here what I want is I want name to layer enemy, right? Okay, because I like this because I can see what I did, right? I know it's 7, but in this case I can just check. Oh, okay, I took the name enemy layer, converted it to the actual layer. And now I should not have done that here, because this is my Chicken Knight's attack layer. So this must be an integer. And then here I must do layer mask name to layer enemy. Okay. And then over here we don't need value. Okay, something like that. Now let's see us killing some of these. Okay, it's still compiling. I guess I'm shooting something. It's hard to see, right? That's going way better. Okay, now, the other thing I want to do is I want the tip yeah, so what I'm gonna do now, I think what I should do, let's open this. So we have this arrow and it's got a couple of gliders to it, right? So I think I need to add a object and I need to call it the arrow damage zone. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a capsule collider. And I'm actually going to take this one and I'm going to say copy component and paste component values. Put it over here. Now, this way I can then do something like an arrow damage script. Arrow projectile damage. So I can either do arrow projectile damage. Okay. And my reasoning here is that I want it to be separate, right? So I don't want the damage to be applied unless this transform collides with something very specifically, right? And I can still have everything the same here, and I could just delete this. So I could literally say remove component. And then what I can also do, and this might have been the more correct way of doing it, I can do layer override. So include layers or exclude layers. So I can exclude the enemy layer, for instance, which means that for movement calculations, I'm not necessarily worried about the enemy. And then over here, I can do include layers, enemy, exclude everything else. So that means I don't have to, with code, figure out if I'm colliding with an enemy or not. It's now done for me. Okay, so that means I should now be able to take... Okay, let's open this script. Delete some of the stuff. So the projectile damage, I can now steal some of the stuff from here. So first of all, I don't need to check this anymore. Pretty much, I don't need to do any of this, but I think I do need to do this thing, right? So right here we go. We do a on collision enter, and when we enter, we apply our damage to the enemy. Now it should always work because this thing is only detecting collisions with enemies, and I don't need to apply the damage here anymore. Apply damage. Okay. Now there's one more problem, right? So if you think about this, I'm applying the damage, but I'm not doing anything with the movement, right? So over here is where I did stuff with the movement, right? So I think what I could do, so I think I should do all the same stuff. I could do all this stuff here again, or I could just make this a separate function, call it the public void stop stop arrow function, right? And in my stop arrow function, I do all of this stuff because that's required. And in here, I just called my just stop arrow function, right? Okay, the reason I'm doing this is because now this is a public function, and I can. Okay, I should stop arrow and provide a collision collision, and I should input this collision in here just for everything to work the way it should, right? Yeah, because I am doing this thing, making it the parent of something else. Now there might come a day that I don't want to do it this way. Yeah, they might very much. So, okay. So when do I not want to do this? And you know what? Even doing this now is probably not required of it. Because if you think about it, right, the type of game I want to make, this top-down type of action roguelike thing about birds fighting lizards. So the perspective that I'm using, the low poly aesthetic and all this stuff, it doesn't need to be super realistic, I would say. So what I mean by that is, look, it's not like it's super important that when you're shooting arrows, they bounce off certain things and hit others and get stuck into them. Right? Theoretically, I could have done all of the same stuff and just make the arrow disappear upon colliding with something, and it should have been fine. I didn't need to make it look like I am taking an arrow out of a quiver. That is just a bonus, right? Because if you think about it, it's difficult to see. It's not detail that's going to add to the gameplay necessarily. It's just nice to have, right? It's a bonus, a little bonus that I include into the game. So I don't think, in this case, if you think about this, let's say the arrow hits a tree. Does it get stuck in the tree? Yes. So this code, perfect. If the arrow hits a rock, does it get stuck in the rock? Probably not. So then I don't want it to become a child of the rock. I want it just to bounce off the rock and fall to the floor. And then it could lie on the floor and roll around or whatever it does on the floor. But that's a lot of additional effort that I don't think is required, right? So I'm just going to leave it like this, in saying that if the arrow stops, it's because it hit something and it got stuck in that thing, right? And that's how I'm going to leave it for now. Okay. So from here, for the arrow projectile damage, I need... So let's just call it... Whoopsie. I need a... serialize field private, and I want a arrow projectile movement. Call it arrow projectile movement. And basically what I want to do here is stop the arrow. So arrow projectile movement dot stop arrow. Oh, I need an argument. Collision, right? I just put the collision in there. There we go. So now I stop the arrow, then I apply the damage to my lizard. Now what I should also be able to do is I should be able to go into this damage zone, and I should be able to now do all the stuff I wanted to do, like making it even higher. Making it too high, moving this thing to negative 0.8. It says this thing already penetrating into the ground. It is, so that's probably not making it 1.5. I think that should be enough. Okay, so this arrow will hit a lot of things, and it will not hit the ground prematurely. Okay, so let's see how that feels. I'm not hitting anything. It is hitting the trees, it's just not hitting any enemies. Oh, I didn't put the... jeez, okay, wait. So I didn't do that. The arrow projectile... Okay, I need to do either a get component or I need to get the arrow projectile Let's just do a start. Okay, and then I do arrow projectile movement equals get component. I think it's get components in parent arrow projectile movement, and that's it, right? Yeah, because then I can get the function. Okay, so then this would happen, stop arrow, and the take damage will happen. But the take damage is not happening right now. Okay, so I don't need that to be a serialized field anymore. I just need to define it, so I can take this out as well. Okay. So it's not hitting anything. Exclude layers, everything. If I do that, it's kind of a funny way of doing it, right? Include layers, enemy. Maybe that's, maybe it overrides it. I don't know. That's weird, right? That's a bit weird. I would say that's a bit weird. Okay. Okay, there's some strangeness happening. That guy got stuck to me somehow. Okay, so what I'm seeing it looks like the arrows get stuck in the they do get stuck, but they don't actually apply the damage. Or maybe I do this. Control X, Control V, whoops, not there. Like that. Debug. Not log. I just want to see the collision. Game object. Okay. Let's go and check. It's not detecting the collision at all. Yeah. Okay, let's just do this. Nothing and nothing. I think that's the standard way they come. Nothing, nothing, and I might have to do this programmatically. So this will obviously do some problems for me. No idea how the layer overrides really work. Okay, so now they get stuck in the ground again. Think. So my multiple collider thing is just not working, it would seem, right? Because this collision event's just not even happening. Right, so if I do a debug log and I just log something like just do something like arrow damage, for instance, just something super basic, so that I could check whether or not the damage is actually being applied. That's not Unity. Yeah, it's drawing, it's shooting. It is colliding, but not because of the arrow damage function. So that thing is just non-existent. My greatness. That is interesting. So basically this collision is not detecting at all. That is not the behavior I expected, if I'm honest. So does that mean I can just get rid of this entire thing and I need to do the damage some other way? Guess what? I really have to do a check sphere, or a check like a, yeah, like if you look at the way I did for the chicken knight, the attack trigger here. So basically what I do here is obviously I have a hit enemies in attack zone function, right? When does this get called? I can't even remember. Hit enemies in attack zone. Attack trigger. Oh, it's the in the animator. I remember now. So the animator hits enemies in attack zone. Yeah. So would I have to do something similar? Man. That's a toughie, I'm not gonna lie. So I would pretty much have to check for a collision every frame. Unless Okay, so there's a couple of ways I can do this now. So this is going to be one of those philosophical questions about game dev. Is, do I do this in a more, in a difficult way, kind of? Might be resource intensive, etc. I don't even know if it's resource intensive. For all I know, that the collision events already kind of do this every update cycle. So it's possible that this is not really any more or less resource intensive. Actually, I kind of think it isn't more or less resource intensive. I think in the background, this is kind of what's happening anyway. So your capsule is checking each frame, have I hit something? So technically I could just do that anyway with a physics overlap sphere, or a physics, it's the other one, the check sphere, like I do here. What does a physics check sphere do versus a overlap sphere? Let me just go to this, and let's look for the physics check sphere. Okay, the check sphere. Okay, give position, radius, layer mask, query, trigger, interaction. Should hit triggers. Okay, that makes sense. So it's a public static bool. So it returns a boolean, no air. Okay. And then I would say that so that's the check sphere. Check. So we can do a capsule cast, I suppose, or a overlap capsule. Those would be the two. So let's see which one does what I wanted to do. It's public static bool capsule cast. So okay, I throw a capsule forward, right? That's what the capsule cast does. It's like throwing a capsule into the world at some to some maximum distance for the sweep. The check capsule, for instance, wouldn't do that. Yeah, it just makes a volume in the world. It's static, and we check if something moves into it, right? So this one throws it. Then this one gives you a list of something, a collider list. So it gives you an array of colliders, collider array of colliders touching or inside the capsule at that moment. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. So I'm going to do a overlap capsule instead. Okay, so it's literally going to be like this, but just an overlap capsule, I think. Okay, so none of this really works. That's fine. So let's go into the update. Whoa. Let's get the update function. Okay, and now I need all the layer masks and stuff like that. So the setup is going to be very similar to the Knight attack trigger. So again, I need this layer mask thing, because now I am using a layer mask specifically and not something else. So we could just do that. I need to get the enemy layer mask. Whoops. Right, I just do this at start, for instance. Need to get the mask. So then when I update, so I should get How did I do this? Yeah. Colliders, enemy colliders, yeah. So the collider array, so we do collider array. We call it enemy. Enemy colliders equals physics dot overlap capsule. Now we need to define our capsule. So we need 0.0, 0.1, and then the radius at a minimum, and then I think the layer mask, right? Okay, so what I can do, yeah, so for 0.0 I could just do transform dot position, right? That should work out. Then I do a new vector 3. Okay, so I do a new vector 3, and pretty much, whoopsie. This would be something like transform dot position dot x, then transform dot position dot y, and then transform dot position dot z. Okay, and then for the z, for instance, now I think for the y, so the x, this one we do -1 for now. I have no idea what that could be. And then finally we do the radius, and there should be a float, so let's just make it 1f for now, which is probably too much. And then right at the end we do our layer mask, and this would just be enemy layer. Right, we close it off. Okay, and then we basically say something like, then it's pretty much exactly this. Yeah, so I need to do this. I don't actually need to do this exactly. This must be enemy colliders. So I don't need to do it for each, I just need to do it for the first. So if I just do enemy colliders 0, which I presume is the first element in enemy colliders. Gate component, take damage, apply hit 10. So I might have to do, if enemy collider's length is, you know, not 0. Come on. So it's greater than 0, we just take the first one and we apply our thing. Now what I also want to do is I want to draw the gizmo. So this would literally be void draw gizmos, right? On draw gizmos, because I just want to see void on draw gizmos kind of. Okay, so we want to draw wire capsule. Draw Let's draw mesh to. That's not the one I want. Draw. And draw. Draw wire sphere, I guess then. Center and radius, so those will be transform dot position and 1f. Okay, and then we need another one, and this would be this new vector 3. Okay, and we save that. Okay, and then we can see now what this looks like. Save everything. Save all the things. Let's go to Unity again. Okay, so that's just wrong, right? I need to move this forward. So that would be the Z. So let's see if I move this to there, for instance. And Z of 0.4. Okay, that's fine. We could do that. Yeah, wait, no, we can just move the arrow damage zone to the right position, right? Yeah. Yeah, what am I doing? That doesn't move anything else. That's just the arrow damage zone. So I can put that on the tip of the arrow where I wanted. Okay, now I should probably do something like change the size of our damage zone. So let's make this a serialized field, call it a float, private float, and we call this the arrow damage radius, and it's a float 1f by standard, and we just take this radius and we put it in here and in here for the visualization, and there. Okay, let me save that. Compiles. Go back. Still compiling. Do I have some coffee left? No. Take some water instead. Okay, so now I should be able to change this somewhat dynamically. I should do that. That would be the bottom, that's the top. Oh, that's fine, I don't mind that. I could get rid of this collider, it doesn't do anything. There we go. Okay. I guess we can run it like that, right? There's probably still a couple of other things I want to do. So the other thing I'm thinking of is, so in the arrow, I still need to stop the movement, and I don't have a way of stopping movement right now, unless the projectile hits with its own little collider right there. Okay. So, but let's just see what this does. Right, we've done a bunch of changes, so let's see if this works. Oh, that's interesting. So I can actually shoot a few of these guys now. You know, that's unintentional, but maybe we say that the arrows that this guy is shooting is so powerful, they are enhanced arrows with some magical power that they can penetrate through enemies. Okay, but then I should also have a way of figuring out because right now if they line up perfectly I could shoot like 20 of them, right? So my arrow is a little bit overpowered still, I would say. Okay, but this feels pretty good, I think. Okay, so the arrow definitely over penetrates, right? It just goes through the enemies completely. And then it lands somewhere else, right? I don't know where it lands. It ends up on the world somewhere, right? It does still stick to trees and things, yeah. That it's sticking to the trees. So we could pause this, and we should be able, if we go look around. Okay, I was just shooting a tree. Is it you, Mr. Tree? Okay, here we have a bunch of arrows stuck in a tree. What is this arrow stuck in? You, arrow. Oh geez, you stuck in... Huh? Oh yeah. It is stuck in the enemy. Oh, I know. Okay, I'll go look at that now. So it can get stuck in them. Well, why is this enemy not lying down? Speed. I don't know, that's not it. Yeah, why is it not lying down? Okay. Bugs, right? Bugs. Okay. So, let's go to Ranger. Okay, so probably what's happening here is if we go to the arrow, so this projectile is not excluding any layers, but let's exclude enemies. Specifically for the sphere collider, so that it doesn't get stuck in an enemy, right? For now, it'll just go through the enemy. Morning, is it Gambit? My favorite game. That's a toughie. I would say, what's up? Yeah, I'm good and you. I'm very good. It's still a bit early though. My favorite game would be... I think I have to give it to Factorio at this point. I'm not playing Factorio actively right now, but if I have to make a choice, it'll be Factorio. I don't know, I like these automation games, right? That's kind of my thing. I would love to make a game like that, but I think it's I don't know, it's a bit intimidating, right? Those games seem very difficult to make. yeah, so my favorite game genre would be like the base building. Is that a genre? Base building on its own, maybe not a genre, but these automation base building, survivalist type games, you know. So I play Factorio. It's obviously one of them. Oxygen not included. I don't know if you know that one. It's also quite a cool one. With your little duplicants that do dumb stuff. RimWorld is another good one. Right. So things like that. But yeah, I would definitely give it to Factorio at this stage as being the run up. But I don't know, those types of games just they scratch an itch that I have to manage resources for some reason. I do also enjoy like the roguelike type survival games. I just don't play them as much though. So if I had to go by my Steam profile and just look at the amount of hours, then objectively it has to be something like Factorio. I play like 50 hours of some roguelike and I'm like, cool, this is fun, I did it. And then Factorio comes along and it's like 700 hours, no problem. Yes, yeah, especially the latest expansion, that one got me deep. Okay. You think so? I don't know. The aesthetics are, I think it's pretty good. It gives me a bit grimy, I guess. It's almost nostalgic for me. The first time I played it, the first thing I thought was, is this StarCraft Brood War? It just I had that feeling, you know. Felt like I was playing something from Blizzard in the 90s. But yeah, I guess they could definitely fix up the graphics. That's subjective, right? Yeah. Yes, and some of the new sprites for the expansion, that's kind of insane how well modeled or how much detail they put into those. Hello, Yumu. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Cool. What was I doing? I was trying to get this arrow to work. I think this arrow is working. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, and you? Oh, okay, that arrow worked immediately. That guy's dead. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of null reference exception error type problems here. I need to go investigate what those are. It's you eating a very late dinner. You are probably from like the Western Hemisphere, if I had to guess. Because it's currently 5 in the morning. It's almost 6 now, a.m. for me. New York. What's the time there now? Isn't it like midnight or something? I don't know why, it's just so satisfying to kill these little buggers. But I guess that's a good thing. If I could just sit here and kill these lizards, I might be onto something, right? Somebody's gonna maybe also want to do this one day when the game's done. Have you guys seen what the night does, though? Oh, I'm too zoomed in or something, because I don't see my UI. There's my UI. Yeah, this is still very, very basic. somewhere in Europe, a little bit south from Europe. Actually, as far south as you can go without reaching Antarctica. Could you have a guess? Australia? Well, I'm in the time zone of most European countries, right? South Africa. That's it. That's me. I am from South Africa. Die. Okay. I head down south and instantly think of Aussies. Yeah, a lot of people do. It's it's one of the southmost places that are still English, right? And I guess that's probably why you think of them first. Well, technically South Africa, I mean, we've got 12 official languages in our country, which is a bit of a mess. But, you know, you kind of have to speak English then, because it's... Yeah, nice to meet you guys too, eh? Yeah, I don't know how many people are on Twitch in South Africa. I would guess... there's people watching, right? Obviously. Twitch is watched all over the world, but... yeah, streaming from here. I don't know anybody either, to be honest. Okay. So this arrow is lurking... or working, I guess, well. Oh, wait, no. I had null reference exception errors. These you can't leave lying around. They will definitely cause some problems. Enemy take cap. This is not the place I thought I would find. Let's see. Enemy take apply hit at that. Okay, so the arrow projectile is obviously causing damage. It's trying to... This line, if state machine dot get state, I'm assuming state machine is the enemy state machine that I get from somewhere. Why would this be broken? I have no idea why this would be broken. Bugs. Don't you love them? Don't you love some bugs? Let's just do this quickly. I just want to see if was this happening often? No. So it looks like, yeah, if you look at all this, it happened a couple of times in the beginning, and then I was continuing shooting a bunch of... I wonder what happened here. Something happened. Did I shoot something that I wasn't supposed to shoot? Bah, who knows? Who knows? I'm gonna leave it there for now. If this becomes, you know how you fix this problem? You click that button. There we go. No problems anymore. Is there initial arrow object? So I have one floating around, arrow projectile, but it's disabled, right? So this one never does anything. Theoretically, it's just sitting here in the world so that I can click on it occasionally. So there it is. Is it there? What's happening here? So, but this arrow shouldn't do anything because it's disabled, right? So it's not a problem. I just keep it there because then I can, come click here and open it whenever I want to change or do anything to the prefab, right? The other one that could be is so the ranger is holding an arrow, but this arrow is just a mesh, right? So it's just the FBX file from Blender. So it's not a prefab, so it can't be that one. No, it doesn't do anything. And those are the only two. Well, let's see. I moved it up there. Yeah. That is what I also think that's the way that arrow works. Okay, let's run around a bit, let more enemies spawn, see if I can trigger this arrow again to understand maybe what's going on. So shoot. I mean, I've already killed quite a few, still didn't have an arrow. Maybe it was that arrow. Maybe somehow it interacted with one of the enemies, but because it's not quite there, it did something funny. Isn't this fun, eh? You get a bug or an arrow, and then it's like impossible to recreate it. A vampires-like game, I guess so, right? So this is like a survivor roguelike. What's it? A Bullet Heaven game. Yeah, so Bullet Heavens, that's the one when you generate all the bullets to kill swarms of enemies, right? I think so. Yeah, you are the boss and they're trying to kill you. So actually what I'm trying to do here, whoa, where am I now? Oh, I'm underneath the floor. So what I'm trying to do, so in Vampire Survivors, right, you die, it's done. Unless you have some kind of a revive or whatever. So I want something similar here, but it's like you are descending into a dungeon or something like that. And the idea is okay, so your dungeon has multiple floors, right? That makes sense. And each floor has a different biome or different enemies or whatever. You need to assemble a team to enter this dungeon and to fight to the bottom, or climb a tower and fight to the top, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And your team is comprised of bird warriors. Right, so here you can see we have the robin. I think it's quite a nice model, this one. And it is a ranger warrior. Oh, it's a type of ranger. And we have a chicken. It's a knight, right? Nice generic knight. Big sweeping attacks. Very good. And the idea is that you can progress through this dungeon, but you're only allowed to use a single character per level. So you get to a level, you're like, oh, this is the level with the swarms of little guys that do very little damage, for instance. Righteous Rooster Knight. And then you're like, okay, cool. I'll take the knight because I have sweeping AoE attacks. Let's go, right? And the knight maybe has armor value, and the small guys don't do enough damage to pierce the armor. So the knight's perfect for that room or that level. The knight won't die because it's impossible. It also clears the level very quickly because it's got these sweeping attacks, right? Very good. Then on a later level, you might be expecting enemies that, for instance, they're a bit slower. They might have high armor, and you need somebody that has a piercing attack. So who's good in that situation, right? Your ranger. So something like that. I'm also thinking of adding biomes and stuff like that, so that you'd use a different type of bird for different situations. For instance, Arctic biome, so very cold place. And then I want to make a penguin character, right? So the penguin doesn't experience a debuff when going on the frozen level, right? But your robin maybe does, something like that, because they're not used to the climate. So something like that. Now the idea is, if you fight on a level and that character dies, that's unfortunate. That character is dead now. You can continue descending into the dungeon with your leftover characters. So there's a little bit of a risk there. Another thing that I'm thinking of doing also is to make the characters, only the character that gets to fight gains experience. And experience obviously means they can level up and get stronger, right? So you could theoretically clear the whole thing with only your knight. You just take the knight on every single level, no matter what, and it will become so strong by the end that you could do some crazy things, right? So something like that. And it's a... Oh, and also is if you take damage, for instance, so this is now the give and take, right? Or you have to make a tactical decision. So let's say you take your chicken knight and you fight, and your knight takes damage, right? It's at 50% HP. And then you go into the next fight immediately. Well, you start at 50% HP. You need to give your knight at least one level worth of rest to be able to recover your HP. They could get frustrated, I guess. So if you think about it, starting Vampire Survivors games, for instance. The first time I played Vampire Survivors, I died, within 5 minutes, right? I think around is... doesn't seem to be hard encounters. Not yet, right? Maybe one day. That might be the plan eventually. Like a big boss level once in a while, where you need to be more... I was also thinking of maybe for certain levels you might have to swap out during the fight at key points, because there might be phases to the fight or something like that, or but this would only be relevant for like a boss fight. You can keep your chicken in there and you can swap them out when they're low health to the mage or the ranger or whatever. I don't know. It's still a bit rough, right? But we'll get there. But to go back to the Vampire Survivors thing, right? I died in like five minutes. Was I frustrated? Not really. It was like, okay, I died in 5 minutes. Okay, let's try again. And eventually you get to like 30 minutes when it's flippin' insane, right? And that's kind of the thing about a roguelike. Knowledge is part of the experience. So you, as the player, gain knowledge, obviously, through the encounters. And I think then you can use that to your advantage. And then later, you can use that knowledge. But I do agree, if for some reason you get a weird enemy or a biome at a later level that you've already spent like 30 minutes trying to clear, and then you die, that feels kind of shitty. I think another game you can compare this to might be Slay the Spire. So in Slay the Spire, you could get to a enemy, like one of the boss enemies that you've never seen before. You don't know what they do, you don't know what to watch out for. And then you just die. It's like, welcome to the roguelike experience, right? It's like, you die. That's it. GG. Try again. Also, I think now thinking about Slay the Spire, I should maybe give people a choice, for instance. So if you descend a level, you can actually choose which room, let's say, you go into, like for every level you descend. It's not, and these are basic roguelike elements, right? A lot of roguelikes do this, but you descend and it's like, okay, you could go this way. This is the chilly biome, but you didn't bring a penguin for your run, so okay, let's do the other biome instead, type of thing. Yeah, incremental account progress. I think that's, nah, I might be wrong, but that defines a roguelite. So roguelite versus roguelike, if I don't have this completely backwards, roguelite means there is progress that you keep, you know, from run to run. So there's some experience or abilities or something that you unlock that you get to keep, like you. And Vampire Survivors does that, right? Yeah. So there's some way that your characters stay empowered for the next run. You don't lose all your progress, which I guess is also pretty good. I'm not sure if I'm going like or liked yet. It's interesting, right? You could spend, and this is kind of the thing, right? And I've done this, where you spend hours and hours flipping, trying to figure out what kind of game you're going to make and not making a game, right? It's like, and I did this when I started all of this. I was like writing game design document or whatever, and I was like, God, no, we need to do this and this many levels and blah, blah, blah. And I haven't even touched a single bit of code. So eventually I was like, you know what? I'm going to start coding something, and I'll let the game evolve as I go. I do have to set some guide rails, because obviously it could get a little bit ridiculous, and scope creep and all those good buzzwords. Scope creep is kind of a thing, and it'll derail any good project that you might have, because yeah, halfway I'm like, fighting these lizards are fun, but what if we could race them instead? No, thank you. That's way too much of a scope change. Might as well just start a new game completely. Now, but I'm committed in this one. You can hear, I've given it enough thought to the point where I decided, okay, enough thinking, let's do something. Okay, but what else do I want to do today? So I think the arrow is working pretty well. Whoa, what did I just click on? Oh, the nav mesh, okay. So the arrows are working, things are working. I think I want to add to the arrow a visual effect, I think. Like I did with the chicken. So the chicken, when it swipes or when it slashes, I have these effects, that come up. And that's just to give it some, power behind the swing, and also to, so you can actually see the swing happening and stuff like that. And I feel like the arrows currently, they need a trail, right? You can't see them flying. So how the hell do I do that? I can't even remember how I did these. Yeah, I'm still learning a lot of things here. And one of the things I'm learning is that you forget what you've done literally a week ago sometimes. So, how the hell did I add these? I think it's this folder, yeah. I downloaded a bunch of these visual effects. I think this is the one. This is the one I used. Okay, let's open a demo scene. Whoa. This is just the one for previewing the... Wait, how does this work? Okay, accept effects example handler. Ah, okay, let's go. Ah, okay. Here we have our effects. Let's turn off gizmos, I think. Does that help? Nah, not really. Okay, I see. So projectiles, we activate them. Okay. So we've got an energy projectile, fire projectile, green projectile, purple projectile. This could work, right? For an arrow. Some super powerful arrows. Okay, let's see what else is there. So let's just switch off the projectiles. Shields, slashes, spikes, blah blah blah. Oh, come on, there must be something else. Dash? Target field. What is a target field? Let's see what a target field does. Green field. Oh, okay. Kind of looks like a level up thing. No, yeah, I know. If you select something, I guess you can have it glow. Yeah, there's a lot of these. Blue cannon shooter? Okay, let's just switch off the targets, because they're gonna get in the way. Where is this? It's just a bunch of scripts. It's not actually... Arrows raining down. Yeah, there is a lot of utility. Yeah, all of these are flipping good, actually. I want to add a mage as well, you know. Some wizard. Guess what bird the wizard's gonna be? Green machine gun shooter, yellow cannon. These are funny. I don't know why these don't. Splash hits. I should actually maybe think about adding these for the... You forget all but... okay, cool. Okay, this is just like a flash. Bam, bam. I guess when you hit something with your projectile, right? It should be a little explosion or something. All birds. Okay, let me give you a hint. Pigeons are not wizards. A phoenix or an owl. I think you got it. It's not a phoenix, right? I'm going to try and use real life birds. So yeah, it's going to be an owl, I think. An owl just makes sense, right? Your wise bird. I'm also thinking... What's this one? Oh, this is pretty cool. I'm also thinking of a necromancer. Restart. This is pretty cool. Thunder. I'm gonna have some fun later. I wonder. Vulture 100%. Yes. I mean that was kind of obvious, right? What's the other birds that I wanna, or other characters? So necromancer is a vulture. I was actually thinking of an interesting mechanic for the vulture or the necromancer. So you start with a team of 4, but the necromancer gets stronger the more of your allies die on the run. A magpie is a thief. Yes, that's not a bad one. Or a crow. A crow or a raven. Now, those are like rogues. But I guess it's like a thief, right? A raven, a rogue, or a assassin. What about a barbarian? Yeah, a mage or a witch. Something like that. A sorcerer. An ostrich. Yeah, emus are insane. We have in South Africa, obviously, I don't think we have many. Emus are not a thing in South Africa. That's Australian thing. We have ostriches. Yeah, Australia lost the war against them. Yeah, we have ostriches, which are, well, they're quite a bit bigger than an emu, right? You can ride an ostrich. You can literally go for ostrich rides. I haven't. It looks horrifying, but you can go ride ostriches here in South Africa. Because they're massive, right? I don't actually know what the ostrich would be. We have some concept art of some of the birds. I think we had like an eagle that we made look like a Viking almost. It looked pretty sick. Yeah, there's a lot to do, right? You can tell. I think, but for now, we got the robin. We fixed up the knight, so the knight looks much better. The knight I have in here is still the old knight. We completely redid the knight. Well, not completely, but we made it way better so that it fits closer to what the what got you on the bird theme? Nah, it's fine. You can distract me. It's Saturday, right? I'm gonna get distracted anyway. It's Saturday, so that's fine. So the bird theme, I think I read a random Reddit post. Some person asked something like, who would win? A chicken knight, right? And here we go. Or a penguin samurai. I was like, I just read that. I don't even think it was a particularly popular thread, like there was no replies or something. But I read that and I'm like, huh. It sounds interesting. And then a bit later I started working on a game with this in mind, in the back of my mind. But I never really got to the bird thing yet, and then eventually I got to the bird thing. I don't know if this is working, but you can check it out. I think there's a link in my Twitch. I don't know. I only set up the links yesterday, so maybe it doesn't work. Who knows? Give me feedback. But there's a link to my itch page where you can see the first iteration or my first game that I made. So initially this was going to be a 2D game. So I started working in 2D. Made a little pixel art game with some assets that I got online. And the idea was to build it into this chicken knight adventure game. Also like a roguelike survivor thing. So I was still in the same genre. But yeah, eventually we decided, you know, the art for the one on itch.io, that's very nice. It's called, the art pack is called Tiny Knights or something like that. And you can also find it on itch. It's completely free to use. It's kind of ridiculous, right? You could just sort of make a game with it, which is dumb. Like these creators, I don't know how they do that. Um, but yeah, obviously I would have liked to use my own art eventually. But yeah, my wife got on board and she tried doing pixel art and she was like, this is not the thing. And then we tried just doing like cartoony 2D art and it also didn't really get there. And eventually she discovered Blender and she discovered low poly and she fell in love. So now it's low poly Blender stuff. Now Blender is also ridiculous. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with the green projectile. I might not keep it green, I can change the color, no problem. But I like the shape of the projectile more than like the blue one. It looks like a jellyfish or something. Fire also doesn't really fit, I think. This one just looks like a powerful thing flying fast. This one's also a bit funny. So I think I like the shape and the look of this projectile. I might change the cone to make it a bit smaller. And like I said, I might change the color as well. But I think that's what I'm going to try. Okay, so now I need to figure out how the hell do I get this thing in my thing again. So I think if we go here to prefabs, I should be able to just find my projectile. So it's in projectiles. Let's see, projectiles, green projectile. There we go. Now look how easy this is gonna be. I call myself a game cobbler, right? Because this is literally me cobbling things together right now. Where's my main scene? Oh geez. There we go. Scenes, game scene. Don't save the demo scene. I don't want it to save anything I did there. Okay, so let's just open our prefab. Yeah, art is 100% my weak point as well. That's why I just get my wife to do it. Free labor, all the good, you know. Picking up self-studies with programming and maths, eh? You know, that's actually how I started this whole venture. I decided to do OSU, so it's an open source university, something like that. I can't remember the acronym exactly, but open source software university, I don't know, can't remember. But it's pretty much a bunch of courses that were put together and structured to resemble a complete computer science degree. And if you go to my YouTube, that's actually where I started. I just started doing OSU for a couple of years. Well, I tried finishing OSU in 2 years, and I thought it would be possible, but then my life became complicated, and I stopped like 7 months later. But I picked up enough programming knowledge and skills and stuff that I was certainly more of a programmer, I guess. And I liked working on my own, big projects. Usos. This is don't click that. I'm banning it. So since I like the project things a little bit more, I decided I'm just going to do a game instead, right? Because a game is this big project, you learn a lot, and it's something that you can work on and iterate with and grow with, right? You grow with your game, so you grow in knowledge and experience as the game expands and becomes more complicated, etc. And it's just nice, right? See what he's saying here. I'm behind in the chat somehow. Imagine if there's 2 people in the chat. I think it might be fun playing games. Okay. Oh yeah. Have you tried coding? Like, or have you used any of the game engines or anything like that before? Unity is a little bit, it's a bit much, right? Unity is a difficult one. It's just a lot, right? You can do it's a big engine. So there's a lot of stuff that you need to figure out. And if you want to get started, I would say like super casual. It's just something like Godot. Like it's just so much easier to just pick up and go. The structure feels a little bit more intuitive at the start. It's not as performant, and you can't do 3D so nice, but if you just want to play around a bit, then it's definitely not a bad place to go. Ah, okay. You've tried Godot. You're focusing on C. you just going old school, hey? C programming. There we go. Yeah, I mean, C is good. That's how I learned programming. I also learned with C. That was the first programming language I learned. And I think it helps you if you start there. I don't know. It feels like everything after C is just kind of straightforward. Yeah, no, definitely C, just to get your hands dirty with some of the principles in coding and stuff like that is definitely good. Okay, we have our particle effect for the arrow. Look at that, flippin', great stuff. It's completely pointing in the wrong direction. Let's see if we make this 0. That looks like the right direction. Let's position along the z-axis is not right, so we move it forward like that. Okay, I almost want to, well, let's make it smaller. So scale so x and y, let's go 0.2 0.2. Oh, that's great. So why doesn't change? Why doesn't changing the scale change everything? Oh geez. Okay, changing the scale does not do what I thought it would do. Okay, so maybe I need to open this thing up and see what else I need to go and find. So we have a BG. Let's see what happens if I mess with it. Messing with the BG. Oh, it's like the... It's like this force cone thing at the front. Okay. Fires. Okay, that's the stuff at the back. Head. Okay, I think this is the one that I want to make smaller, definitely. Okay, one of the ones that I want to make sure smaller. Okay, let's not do that. Let's go 0.2, 0.2 on the head. The core of the tail, 0.2, 0.2. Now that looks better already. Oh, what? There's more trails? Oh, geez, that's just the trails for the other colors. Oh, geez. Okay, let's see. Trails? I don't think the trails are the problem. I think it's this BG. Okay, BG, you're going to go down to 0.2, 0.2. Okay, there's still something that's a bit funny here. Is it the fires? Not quite. It's probably one of the trails, right? That one. Ah, that one. Okay. 0.2, 0.2. This arrow looks insane now. You can't even see that there's an arrow in there anymore. Damn. This might be overkill, right? I'm just gonna play it like this. Let's see what it looks like. I think it's overkill though. It's gonna be crazy. Let's go. Ha! Oh! I think I found the problem child. Okay, now I have a bunch of problem childs. Ah, but I think I know what causes this. Wow. It's this guy. It's my dummy. It's when I shoot the dummy. It doesn't know what to do. It's not quite programmed correctly or something. Because I obviously don't spend much time on the dummy. I just kind of... I don't know. This projectile is kind of doing it for me right now. Look at that. Okay. Let me try something with this dummy. You mean modular the effect? I think that's, well, I don't know, but it feels like that's pretty much a standard thing to do. People, or from what I've seen, okay, to be honest, I've only seen these effects, right? But yeah, almost everything you make in a game is made out of 500 different pieces, more so than more so than just it being one glob of a thing. Like you can even check, for instance, the way I've done my chickens or my birds. Right, so we have the chicken character, but as soon as you go in here where you have the mesh, so the actual body of the chicken, you can see there, I have a beak, a breastplate, so everything's separate. You know, and even these slashes, they have multiple effects, particle effects and stuff like that, and you just make a different component. Sparkle, lights, sparkle, whatever. Yeah, everything's super broken up in little parts and pieces. And actually, if you want to, let's say for instance, I want to change out the armor set for my knight, right? Literally what you do is you have all of the different armor types inside here already, preloaded. And then in code, you literally just go and you enable and disable different parts. Like here's a cape. The cape looks terrible, so I disable it. But if I click on the cape, boop, there we go. The knight has a cape again. And you can imagine how you can make your characters customizable in this way. Right, if I want a helmet, well, there's a helmet. And you just activate it. Right, you never remove anything, you just activate, deactivate. Yeah, the particle effects, I think, because if you look at how they did it, I think they made one and then they just activate and deactivate different things to make it unique. So the one thing I'm still a bit, I think that green is too intense, right? I think I need to kind of try and make this a little less crazy. So what if I just change the see-through-itness. I think it's the trails that's maybe too much. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, these trails are way too intense. But if I just have the alpha value a little bit lower, I think we don't lose the arrow completely that way. It might still be a bit too big though. But to be honest, if you look at the collision area and this trail now, they kind of, you know, kind of look the same. A super fancy ultimate. Now, or imagine this, you have an upgrade for the Ranger, it's something like powered shots or something like that, where I reduce the attack speed, but every attack has like a super cone with greater area of effect or something. Yeah, you know, you get, I mean, this is the problem, right? We all played games and we know what's nice, or we know what we would like to put in, and once you get started on that rabbit hole, you just never end. You just continue from adding things until you've spent 4 years developing your game and you haven't published anything yet. Okay, so I'm not gonna try and fix this thing. I'm just gonna disable my punching bag. I don't use it anyway, so I'm just gonna take it out for now. When you get Star Citizen, oh geez, yeah. I can't believe that game is, when did it come out? Like 2012? Something ridiculous like that. Oh geez, why am I missing everything? Okay, why am I missing this guy right in front of me? Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm missing way too much. So this is now where you need to tweak colliders, because, you know, players have a certain expectation. If it looks like they hit, it should hit. So you need to code in a little bit of a grace, making colliders bigger than they really need to be, just so the player feels good about doing anything, yeah? Yeah, so what I think I'm gonna do... 2012, yeah. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I don't even know if the things they promised back then were possible. They might not even be possible now. But I guess that's their thing. They can worry about that. I think that game has made more money than most studios make ever, and they haven't even finished the game. It's kind of crazy as well. Okay, let's go to the simple enemy. ChatGPT integration. Oh no, that would be... do you play Star Citizen then? I suppose. Okay, let's make this a bit fatter, so that it's easier to hit this guy. I also want to make it maybe a little bit longer. You do not. Okay. You haven't wasted any money yet. That's good. I have friends that have wasted thousands, right? And it's not even hard. If you go to their store, it's like, oh, you want this spaceship? Yeah, no, it's special edition. There's only 10 available this time. It's an electronic flippin' product, but there's only 10 available, and they're like $500. And this is American bucks. I have to pay that in South African bucks, and our bucks are kind of dumb. So you multiply that by 20, yo. Just pay for that ship instead of your mortgage. I mean, some people are serious gamers, but that's a dumb idea, right? I don't care how serious a gamer you are. You don't do that. You don't do those. Okay, let's go. Let's see if it's easier to hit these. Oh, look at that. Right in the head. Okay, can I please stop missing? Okay, I should also maybe turn off the particle effects when I finish shooting something, because these arrows that are just lying around with their particles all over the place. The closest to achieving mobile levels of monetization. Yeah, no, look, hey. Yes, like the last time I think I tried to play a mobile game, it's probably Pokemon Go, actually. And yeah, the monetization was kind of incredible. Like, oh, you want to catch this Pokemon? Sorry for you, you don't have balls left. You have to pay for those with real money. Okay, let's see. I think this should be very easy. So my arrow projectile already has a movement script, right? And in the movement script, I do disable it from flying after it, when I do the stop arrow. So technically, what I should be able to do, let's just do something like this. You do a serialized field, private, float. I think this would just be a transform. No, what the hell am I doing? Private float, private transform. Particle effect. Okay, something like this. And then literally I do at the end here, when it stops, I do just a disable particle effect, and I do particle effect dot game object dot set active false. Thank you, Unity and Visual Studio, for doing all the coding for me. You think so? Mobile? I don't know. Yes. Mobile gaming. Yeah, it feels yucky, hey? For money, maybe. I don't know, actually, how much money do mobile games make? They're well monetized. They're overly monetized, but it'd be kind of interesting to know exactly what people are doing in terms of gaming. I know. Yeah, it kind of depends, right? I think the market is oversaturated in mobile gaming. I think, yeah, the discoverability issue. Yeah, no, that's absolutely the problem. There's just literally millions of games on mobile, and good luck getting anybody to try your game. Whereas, well, I mean, if you launch games on Steam, you have a similar problem, right? Oh no, what did I just do? I didn't stop the stream, did I? I don't think I did. Hello? Oh, jeez. Okay, thank goodness. I pressed the button that I wasn't supposed to press on my stream manager. Yeah, I guess YouTube's flooded with ads. But you can make the same argument, I guess, about YouTube itself. Like, people want to become YouTubers, and it's like, yeah, well, guess what? And people make money, but guess what? There are millions of channels. No, for sure, yeah, PC gaming, definitely. Yeah, Itch is a good one. Steam is actually very good as well. Like, for publishing, they pretty much do all the heavy lifting for you. What's code Matt XOR? I see what you did there. Welcome. What's your favorite joke? Tell me your favorite joke. Hello. Okay, let's see. I need to add the green projectile now to this thing. So green projectile, go in there. Making fun of YouTubers that make money off of those horrible ads. Yeah, you see how all this comes together, right? It's like, make money with YouTube, you need to run mobile gaming ads. Okay, I think this should work now. So I should now have a nice particle effect when my arrow shoots. It hits something, it goes away. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Well, how am I missing? Look at that. I can't even. How is this so hard to hit? I need to work on something because aiming is difficult. Okay, but look at that. The particles disappear. I think the arrows are still lying around here somewhere. You know, it's easier if I just shoot at a tree and then pause and then go into scene and then fly around. No. Yeah, look at that. The arrows are stuck in trees and mid-air for some reason. How? Why? It's fine. Nobody will see that, right? Nobody will see that. It's fine. Slight aim assistance. You mean like... I think it's the perspective thing. So I might have to change the way the collisions work because from the perspective of the player, at this angle, it seems like I would have had the shot hit, but I don't because it's weird, right? We're not looking straight down from the top. We're looking at an angle, and that might be messing with me a bit. But if I feel that way, then players will feel that way as well. So I should definitely, I should make something that makes that better, right? Currently, I feel like I should just make the collision areas larger. It's probably the easiest way. You know, like, why do it the hard way? You just go here to your arrow projectile, and you're like, cool, these little balls that calculate the collision, make them 0.25. Oh, not 25. Whoa, 0.25. And now you can't miss, right? And that's actually, it just needs to feel good. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, this is ridiculous in terms of a hitbox if you think about it. But if you play it and it feels nice, you know, don't complain. It's fine. Okay, let's go. Come at me, bros. I want to shoot you. Oh, look at that. I saw something interesting just now. Die, die, die. If you guys are wondering why I'm not dying, even though I'm clearly being hit by these guys, it's because I have 500 health and they only do 1 damage. That's not balanced, obviously, but it's kind of annoying when you're doing testing and you keep dying. Okay, let's just, for good old time's sake, pull out our chicken. And go ham. The chicken doesn't do so much damage. And these guys are a bit wonky sometimes. You'll see they get stuck in the attack animation at some point. And this is also one of those things where it's not going to happen when you only have one on the screen. So it's very difficult to debug. Like, or that. Why is that one not finding a path? Ah! Get out of my face. Okay. I think I made some very good progress today. I fixed the arrow, made it do the things that I wanted it to do. I made the particle effect, which was way easier. And then, so what's next? I think I need to get my hands on the new chicken model. IDA Pro. I don't even know what that is. What's IDA Pro? Is it IDA? Am I even reading that? It's IDA. Yeah, IDA Pro. That's something I should Google. IDA Pro, hex rays, code analysis and vulnerability research. Oh, it's a debugger type thing. Okay, decompiler, debugger, all the kinds of things. Reverse engineering binaries. Okay, I see. This is kind of insane. I'm too bad of a coder to even start to think about how this would even work. But anyway, somebody else's problem, right? I just have to be good enough to make these two guys work. Okay. So the arrow is fine. Stuff is working. Okay, now I'm actually kind of at a wall. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do now. There's obvious things like, first of all, if you go into my 2D view and you look at the canvas, that is a terrible UI, right? Like, that is not the UI you want. So what I want to do here is I want to have a posed chicken knight, a posed ranger. You know what, actually, this was just temporary, to be honest with you, so it's not necessarily what it's going to look like. Because like I said, right, we want to go for the different levels, and each level will have different characteristics or enemies or whatever, and you need to select the good chicken or the good robin to do the fighting for you. So do I want to mess with this now? Nah, it's not really necessary. This is all just for testing, actually. How long have I been streaming? I've been streaming for a bit. 2 hours and 23 minutes. And it's almost... I think I'm gonna have to thank you and potentially leave you. Thank you so much for joining. I am gonna be live tomorrow, the same time. It might be way too late for some of you, but if you're keen on having late lunch, late dinners, and you're in the US, then come and join me. It's early in the morning right now. For me, it's 7 o'clock. My toddler is probably awake now. So, yeah, soon work is going to be very difficult for me to achieve, especially since it's Saturday. Well, this is part-time, so even during the week, by this time, I need to get to my other work. Yeah, so I'll see you guys then tomorrow if you want to come and join. Thank you for joining me today. I think we did a lot of things. I'll go think about what I want to achieve next. Maybe get that nice chicken model, the new one, integrated in here. And I might even work a bit later today. So I won't stream it, but I'll have a surprise for you tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Actually, should I raid somebody? How does that work? Let's see. Raid chat. I've never done this before. Who should I raid, guys? Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I'll worry about this another time. I'm not going to worry about this now. I don't know how it works. I'm going to raid some random guy and I've never even seen their work or know what they're doing. I'll rather just end the stream and we can always raid somebody next time. But yeah, again, thank you so much for watching, and go play the other game. Nah, you don't have to, right? It's just a freebie on Edge, but you can go try it out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Where's my OBS so I can stop the stream? Everything's minimized. I need to get myself a nice stream is ending screen or something, because this is going to be awkward. Okay, but thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time. Cheers.